Okay, guys, it's another Gong Road and another night out. So maybe I wanted us to review. We can go through Daniel, some of the highlights of the book of Daniel. So as a sermon study review, and in this book we find ourselves. We see that the children of Israel are already in the fourth year they were taken captives. In the fourth year of the king of Cyrus, they were taken captives. So in the third year, in the fourth year, the king of Cyrus, the king of Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar, he surrounded the Jerusalem, and he was able to take it into captive. He besieged the city, and after besieging the city, he was able to hold the city captive, and he took Daniel, Hananiah, and his other Ananiah, Eliezer, and two other fellows. So it's Daniel, Hananiah, and Belshazzar. I think Belshazzar. So they were taken captive, and so what is happening here actually is what we noted. In this book, actually, it's I could say, Fadili is reminding me it's Shadrach and Abednego. Yes. So they were taken into captive, and this king of Babylon, he want to do some. There is actually you could call it. Not only they have been captured, they are exiles, they are slaves, and but these Babylonians masters, they want to re-educate them. So what do? The king of Babylon, what he does is simple. He takes the four young men, the brilliant men of Israel, and plans to re-educate them in the Babylonian culture. So there is that worldview, war of worldview. So there is that conflict. There is that clash of worldview. And so Daniel and his other friends, his colleagues, 3 other colleagues, they are taken as young men. They are educated. They are fed with the Babylonian foods, and actually the best wines. The king sets apart a portion of what he is taking. He set it apart for these men. But Daniel, Hananiah, and his other colleagues, they refuse to eat. So the master is worried that that might cost his life, because if the king discovered that they are not fit like the others, he could lose his soul. But Daniel, Hananiah, and Belshazzar and his colleagues, they plead with him. That they will be fine. They will continue to eat. They did not taste wine. They just fed on vegetables. And from there, I guess that's what they feed on. So they feed on the vegetables, and they are fine. Actually, it's found that they look better and more handsome than the other, who are feeding on the meat, and feeding on the king's food. So that's what happens. Yeah, that's what happens. And later, what happens is that the king has a dream. And then in this dream, he dreams of a big statue or sculpture.
It was 40 feet.
40 feet?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
In Sunday school, when we were studying that...
Can you put that and explain to the guys?
In Sunday school, when we were studying that,
Yeah.
the teacher said the statue was 40 feet.
Oh, the statue is 40 feet according to Fadili. 40 feet tall.
Yeah.
And the head of the statue is
Made of gold.
gold and silver. The shoulders, is it the neck silver?
The
And
neck, I think, the
silver.
neck and shoulders was silver.
Yes, and then
The torso was brown, bronze.
the chest, I think the shoulders, the chest is bronze, right?
Yeah, the torso was bronze.
Yeah,
From the leg to
yeah,
the heel
yeah,
was made out of iron,
And of-
and the entire foot
yeah.
was made of iron and
Clay,
mud. Yeah, and clay.
clay.
Yeah, clay.
Sindio? And that is a dilemma now. The feet are made of iron and clay, but they do not mix properly, right?
Yeah.
And so this dream haunts the king. The dream haunts the king, and he approaches the wise men to reveal the meaning of the dream. None of them is able to reveal the meaning. Actually, when they confronted, they told him that
What they did, they asked him what the dream is.
yes, they asked him what the dream was,
Yes.
but he refused to tell them, and he challenges them. If you cannot tell me the dream, means that you cannot interpret the dream. Sidio? And so they tell him that what you're asking only is known by the gods. Isn't it? Only is known by the gods. No one can be able to interpret. And so the king is furious, and he orders the annihilation of all the wise
Ben.
men in the land. And so here we find Daniel and his men about to be killed. But before they are killed, they ask, what is the issue? What is the matter? And then Daniel, I wish we had a Bible here.
Yeah.
Do you have a Bible in the iPad?
Let's check.
In the iPad? Maybe Fadili has an iPad here, we can check.
My iPad.
So what happened is that, don't know. So what happened is that the issue here is Daniel now pleads that he be brought before the...
Wait, it does. Which one should you put?
He be brought before the king. And so he's brought before the king, and before he's brought before the king, he talks with his, he informs his friends that they should pray that God will give the meaning of the dream. Although he used to interpret dreams, right? So he used to interpret dreams. So Daniel, they pray to God that God will give them the revelation of that dream. So God is gracious, and he reveals the dream overnight to Daniel. And so the following morning, Daniel is presented before the king, and he reveals to him, this is the true meaning of the dream. That this, and then the shocker is, so when Daniel is revealing it's okay Fadili, the dream, he tells him that this is what will happen. So he tells him that what you saw are 4 kings, right? And Fadili, you are playing game when I'm interpreting vision, revelations here. Okay, so that's what he tells him. Give me so that they will come. this is what is going to happen. This is off my head. This is what is going to happen to you. That here God has revealed to Nebuchadnezzar how his kingdom will be destroyed and how God will appoint 4 other kingdoms after him. And so the first, what you saw, so the king, he tells him actually what he saw. And you had a statue made of gold, silver, bronze, and iron, and the feet were clay and iron. And so he explained to him, and then it was smashed by a rod. And so the meaning...
Pebble.
So the meaning is that this is how your kingdom will be destroyed. That God is the Lord which smashes that statue. That statue, or that sculpture, or what you call that big giant. It is the Lord who smashed it. So the Lord, the God of who is living. Remember, these are people who are in Babylon. They have been praying. They are slaves. Actually, they are eunuchs. They cannot get children. This Daniel, and they have been disserviced. They have been eliminated from the service. They can never get children. And so now here what you see is them. Now God has revealed to Nebuchadnezzar how he will destroy his kingdom. And so God will smash. So the only kingdom that will remain is the kingdom of the Israelites. The kingdom of the
Israelites.
4 other kingdoms will rise up, and the 4th kingdom will be divided, because as you can see, these guys are still crossing. It's our turn to pass. Why the police are allowing? It's chaotic. Driving here is chaotic. Believe you me. It's chaotic driving here, but anyway. So that's what happens. That the 4 kings will come, and it's not a challenge actually. It appears like many might assume that it's a challenge. No, but here is this servant explaining to this ruler that this is how God is going to smash your kingdom, unless, and it will come to pass. It will come to pass that God is going to smash the kingdom, this kingdom, just like he had smashed the kingdom of the Israelites. He is going to smash your kingdom, and there will come some kings after you. And then what does... So you can imagine now, the Daniel and his friends, they have been going through this re-education and they do not give up. They do not compromise on their faith. Actually, they do not compromise on their faith. They trust in the Lord. So this is a story of hope. Hope in God in all times. So they still hope in God, that despite the challenges which they are going through, they set their eyes on the Lord. So they hope in the Lord. They hope in the Lord, and God still reassures them that even though they are still in captivity, God has not forsaken them. That God one day, that their kingdom will be restored. That the kingdom of God will be restored, and that the only kingdom that will outlast forever is the kingdom of the
Lord.
of God, of whom these slaves belong, of these believers, the Jews, belong. So that's what actually happens, that God promises to rebuild Zion, and this gives hopes to the exiles. Though they are still in Babylon, God assures them that He still cares for them, although they will still die there in slavery. They will still die there in exile. Though they are treated well, they are still slaves. They are fed, but they are still slaves. They don't have their rights, but they have the hope that one day God is going to restore their kingdom. So this is when you're going through difficult times, when you're going through moments of hopelessness, remember Daniel, remember Hananiah, remember Belshazzar. They were slaves, but God, through his mercies, He was gracious to them, and He restored to them. He restored to them their dream. So they had the desire to go back. They actually prayed to God that He might restore their kingdom, but they did not live to see it. So you might be praying today that God will rescue you from your trouble, but this is also a debunking of the prosperity gospel, which always espouses that God always desires that you prosper physically, materially, and financially. This book of Daniel, just like the book of Job, is an indictment against that at times God will allow bad things to happen to you. But even though you go through the valley of the shadow of death, even if you are going through these hardships, remember, God is
With you.
God is with you, and He has not forsaken you. He hasn't forsaken you. So do not give up. Trust in Him. He will come to your rescue, and He is a good and gracious God. A good and gracious God. So continue trusting in Him, and He will wipe away your tears one day. He might not actually answer in positive your current issues. You might be looking for a job, a baby, a husband, but you may never actually realize that dream. That does not mean that God never answers the prayers. It would be, if that is the case, it would be saying that God never heard the cries. He never heard the cries of Daniel and his friends, that they were far from Him. But that is far from the truth. We find that God was close to them, and He heard them, and He even gave them a vision of how He is going to rescue them one day, although not them, but their children and children. So always remember that even in difficult circumstances, God is going to. Wow, we have a new extension. As you can see, this was open just the other week, and so Gong Road is expanding, which is a good for us. That Gong Road will be expanding. It will have more service lane, and it will help to reduce congestion that we are seeing. Yeah, this will be a very good move. So this is commendable for Ruto. If Ruto always says that we do not